Hello, family. Before we get started, just wanted to let you know that next week we will actually not be having an episode. Our little one just finished her school year, is off for the summer, and we're going to take the week for some family vacay time. So no episode next week, but the following week, we will be having 2 episodes. The first, we will be recapping episode 7 through the finale of Perfect Match. And then the second episode of that week, we will be doing part 1 of Bachelorette Jen's cast bios. Cannot wait for that. So again, next week, no episode, but the following week, we got 2 exciting episodes coming out for you all. We love you all. Let's get into it.
Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
Well, welcome home, family. It's your mom and dad. Sorry, literally right when we were doing the intro music, Evan did a riff like it was crazy.
I was singing to our intro music, absolutely killing
it.
it.
Very much giving "This is the voice."
Like, this is the voice. That's exactly the run I did.
Nick would be so proud. Which, speaking of Nick, family, today we're talking Perfect Match episodes.
You mean old sneaky Nick? How he likes? Have you noticed whenever they go into the room, he like goes behind, he goes boo, and they're like, oh, and he's like, got you again, suckers. Like, this is like fun, you know?
Okay, listen, Nick Lachey, we're covering episodes 4, 5, and 6 of the Perfect Match. Nick Lachey,
I mean, he's having the time
of his life.
Like
we discussed before, but also I need to have a special shout out to him because during Love is Blind, you know, we kind of over here, we make a bit of a mockery about like, how are they even hosts? We see them for 5 seconds.
Yeah. Nick
is working his butt off.
He's doing so great.
I'll be real with you. Maybe one of the shows that you see the host the most in. Yeah. Nick is in
multiple times an episode.
Nick is working out there. He's working.
And obviously they cut a ton. Right. So he's doing a lot of different takes and a lot of different things.
He's constantly going in and out of the house, chatting. He's got the boardroom. He has the compatibility challenges that he's hosting all of the compatibility challenges. You know what?
He has kind of a perma smile on too, because he's so happy that he's just like alone in Tulum. He's like playing tennis probably. He's playing golf. He's hosting. He's like, no one's riding my ass. Like, but he has that perma smile. Like, it is a difference. He has a different vibe.
He has a glow about him, and also loving the fact that Tolu has given him the nickname Nicky Poo.
Exactly.
Which love Tolu. Yeah. But like, it's not a nickname that's out of the stars, right? Nicky Poo is kind of. He loves it.
He loves it. He's probably hanging in between takes. Like, you guys, this funny thing happened.
He said multiple times, I don't love that name.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's going to take that back home and be like,
babe,
why don't you call me Nicky Poo?
Oh my God. He's having such a good time.
I had to shout out Nick because I feel like he truly, truly is. He's working. He's truly working. And he is earning that check that he is getting.
I love him alone. I think he's and I'm not even talking shit. I'm more just saying like
you're not. You don't come for Vanessa. She might come for you.
I'm not coming for her. I'm just saying like not everyone should work with their partner. Maybe that's more what I'm saying.
Are you talking about us?
From first-hand experience, this isn't for everyone. No. But I'm just saying.
Looking to the camera. I'm just like,
listen. I'm not saying us. I'm asking for a friend. Help. No, but what I'm saying is,
I don't think couples should work together.
Yeah, right.
So, you and I.
We're great. We're great. You're the best, babe. No, but seriously though, like, you know.
No, I agree.
Like, you know, it's not meant for everyone. And I will say, like, him alone, he does have a pep in his step.
He truly does.
And like, he's doing a great job.
I know.
Great energy.
That's why I wanted to shout it out.
Yeah, shout it out.
Another thing I would like to shout out. Well, there's a few things I want to shout out before we really dive in. The second being that you were gone.
Yeah.
You were on a work trip, of which when you're gone, I discover how desperado I am for you.
Okay.
Like, look at me, I'm a mess. My nails are broken. Things are broken in the house. I can't function. It's embarrassing.
Okay.
Missed you so much. It's so embarrassing. But when you were gone, we were watching the episodes 4, 5, and 6 separately of Perfect Match. And what those episodes showed me, what I discovered in those episodes, is a new diss that I believe, I'm a sensitive person. A lot of things can hurt my feelings. But this diss, if someone who knows me, and especially knows me well, were to call me this, I would be so devastated. And that is a fun sponge.
Oh.
Evan.
Yes. I wrote down.
A dagger
that is
through my heart.
It's a fantastic. You know what? I'm so glad you brought this up too, because I wrote it down on my notes and I thought, I've been trying to kind of figure out what it is about Micah that like I just really don't resonate with.
I know,
and I'm not trying to like
not a
be
fan.
a hater, but it's like even from the day one of Love Is Blind, I was like, just bad vibes. Like I just don't like the energy. It doesn't make me feel good.
You're not a Micah
person,
It
doesn't make me feel good. It's exactly what it is.
So Stevan,
she is a fun sponge.
Stevan calls Micah a fun sponge, and he's saying, "I don't want Kaz with her anymore because Kaz usually has, probably the pep in his step that Nick Lachey has right now." And he's like, "You seem quiet, you seem like reserved, pulled back," and it's because Micah is a fun sponge. And Stevan talks about how he was with Micah, and then actually we find out later in the episode that Stevan asked to be put on a date. You know how Harry was like, don't put me on a date. Stevan's like, please put me on a date.
God.
Even though he was with his auntie at the time. So I guess that doesn't fully line up. But he was like, Micah the fun sponge. It's not for me. And the fun sponge definition was you suck all the fun out of the room. Oh my God. Evan?
But it really,
listen,
it's a
am I a
diss.
huge Micah fan? No. But that hurt me for her because it's
like there's many insults I'd rather be called before a fun sponge because it's just like the ultimate. Your personality is like, horrible.
You're annoying. You drive me crazy. You won't shut up. Like you're too exuberant.
You're too confrontational. Whatever.
You're too confident. Too cocky. You're arrogant. A fun
sponge is like no one likes that. People can get behind the person that's too arrogant, that's too loud, that's too crazy, that's too quiet, that's too whatever. A fun sponge? No one ever said like, I'm cool with that. It's the ultimate diss. It truly is.
And it's funny because I know you say that you get this energy that you're not a fan of, but I feel like at least with the editing of Perfect Match, I'm not getting fun sponge from her. So I'm so interesting what being in the room is actually like.
I'm getting fun sponge.
I get that everyone's like pretty outgoing and bubbly, and she's a little more like you see her when she's having more like serious, quieter one-on-one conversations. But I'm not getting the vibe from her that she's like, you guys, let's stop playing Truth or Dare. Truth or Dare always results in bad things. Like that feels
remember that? What's that? That was like a Saturday Night Live skit from like the 80s. Debbie Downer. She's like, it's like the worst idea. She's not that. She's got it's far more deep than that. Like it's got like it's just subtle. It's like, a girl would be confiding in her that she's insecure about the fact that her guy is talking to another girl. And instead of being like, no, you got this, she'd be like, well, she is very beautiful. And you're just like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like that's Micah in a nutshell. It's just like not reading the room, not being there, just being like, you're probably right. And it's like, Jesus. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll never be good enough. Well, the chances are you won't ever be good enough. And you're like, oh,
I didn't know if I was reading that. But, to be quite frank, there's a lot of things I haven't been reading correctly. Evan, we recapped episodes 1, 2, and 3. And episodes 1 through 6 were out. So I'm sure a lot of people who were listening to 1, 2, and 3, our recap of them, had listened or watched, all 6 episodes. And were screaming at some of our takes because we were so off about so many things once 4, 5, and 6 started. Now, here's the other thing too. When this episode drops Friday morning, Netflix is dropping episodes 7, 8, and 9. So who knows we might be
Right.
then all of a sudden next week be like, well, never mind. And that's what
back
I feel
to
like
it.
is going to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm having extreme feelings about a few people that are shifting every few episodes.
There's only one that is true. There's only one that has been consistent, and that is Harry.
Oh, you mean that it's like...
it's just an absolute, just like, Harry, what are you doing? You're up and down, you're taking people on a ride. And when you got Jess going on a ride too,
yeah,
you're a ride king. You know what I mean? So we'll get into it, but
yeah,
that was wild.
I though was like, okay, let's get into it. Let's just dive in because there were a few that now when I think about my opinions from episode 1, 2, and 3,
oh, multiple of mine have fully changed.
I'm
now.
like, who am I anymore? Because I don't even know what I think and who I love and who I,
We're on a whole new spectrum now.
It's unbelievable. But okay, let's just officially dive in. But first, we do have to take a quick pause. Listen, fam, let's talk first work-life balance. I mean, I was inspired by Nick Lachey because yes, he was working, but yes, he was also living that work-life balance, living in the golden fedora. But truly, work-life balance sometimes doesn't feel realistic, especially in today's day and age where you're working at home through lunch or answering emails late at night. It's tough. Well, business owners and more, let me give you a tip that has helped me free up the time consumed by tedious mailing and shipping tasks with Stamps.com. Stamps.com streamlines your postage needs, making your business more efficient and putting more life into your work-life balance. We've been using Stamps.com for our personal and business uses for, over a decade at this point, because they're just simply the best. It's been a gift and a time saver and a money saver in our lives and business. So we love.
Yeah. Take care of mailing and shipping wherever you are, even on the go with the Stamps.com mobile app. All you need is a computer and a printer. They even send you a free scale, which is super nice. And you can easily schedule package pickups through your Stamps.com dashboard and automatically see your cheapest and fastest shipping options from different carriers. Here's the thing. From small businesses to multi-location organizations, Stamps.com handles all your mailing and shipping needs while reducing costs and increasing the profit, baby.
Oh, yes. You'll get rates you can't find anywhere else, like up to 89% off USPS and UPS. Listen, that adds up big time, okay? Stamps.com is amazing for personal use. Hello, saving money, and goodbye waiting in long lines. But if you're a business owner, it means that Stamps.com is just a must, okay? They even seamlessly connect with every major marketplace and shopping cart if you sell online, and you can order shipping and mailing supplies, labels, and even printers from the supply store when you run low. Put more life into your work-life balance with Stamps.com. Sign up with promo code MOMDAD for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the page, and enter code MOMDAD. Okay, so in episode 3, we left off really wondering who Dom and Stevan were going to choose.
Yeah.
Currently, Dom was partnered up with Tolu, and Stevan was partnered up with Xanthi, and both of them apparently have their eyes on Alara.
Yes.
So Dom had just had this conversation with Tolu where he was like, I don't want to be like last season, and I think I need to explore. And obviously, Dom is one of the individuals that I'm talking about where I had quite a
we were like, this guy seems a great
feeling change. Yeah. I was seeing people posting using the adage of, you're the hero and you stay long enough to become the villain.
Yes.
Because I guess in season 1 of Perfect Match, they loved him. He was the hero. He was like, all the positive arcs. And what a turn.
Yes.
Even in a friend way.
Yes.
What a turn.
Everything.
So Dom sits down with Alara, and immediately from the top of episode 4, my alarm bells are going off when they start discussing Harry Potter. And he says he's in the Slytherin house, and he's like, "You're in Gryffindor. You don't even have anyone good except for Harry." And I'm like, "What?"
She's like, both of all the main characters, you mean? And then he's like, "Oh yeah,
he's like, yeah, but we have Voldemort." And I'm like, "I gotta go."
You're like, I'm having a hard time understanding the argument here.
Your argument is that you have Voldemort,
you have
so yours
evil
is
Lord murderer, and that's your argument for
like, this is the argument. I'm already like, well, our time together has been lovely, but I gotta go. But Alara in this situation is very much vibing with Dom.
Yes.
She's like, he's my type typically. They definitely have chemistry. And this is where I feel like you see a shift with Dom's energy, where he's making more eye contact with Alara. He's flirting versus then when he's sitting with Tolu. I don't know if you noticed, but like he's never really looking at her when he's talking.
You're saying just early on even?
Even at this point, yeah. He's not really even like looking at Tolu when he's talking. He's not giving a lot of feeling and emotion. But with Alara, you could tell. I mean, this is who he wants to be coupled up with. And in fact, at one moment later in the episode, he's like, she is my perfect match. And I was like,
easy, buddy.
Okay.
Also, he's so reserved and she's so outgoing. So there's a bit of a like, opposites attract vibe.
Well, Stevan also has his eyes set on Alara. And, Stevan's another individual throughout these 3 episodes. I had told you if I'd go into the house initially, Stevan, I would have been like, I would want to choose type, Stevan, but I'm like, I know this is the wrong decision. You were saying that the
biggest misread of the
you
world.
Were saying, you were like, I don't think he's actually a player, and he kind of acts like he is.
And then he started opening his, and then then the second these episodes started happening, I was like, oh no, this guy is a legendary player. No, I'm not saying I have proof of him womanizing. It's more like his ability to weave words together, have smooth tactics, kind of be cool, calm, collected, mysterious, but also at the same time very outpouring of love. The man is putting on a masterclass.
When I tell you that I feel like I can read people in person pretty well.
No, you would think he's so
and I don't feel like I get charmed to
no, he's
not
incredibly
this
charming.
Man would sweep me off my feet 100%. And I'd be like, here's the thing about Stevan, and I'm struggling because clearly the man has played the game for a long time. We end up
he's
finding
talking
out
about he's having sex with famous, pop stars. Remember during the game, he brings that up.
He has a cage in his bedroom.
You've done a lot when you're like, yeah, I bring people over and they get into my dog cage. You've experimented. You know what I mean?
He's like, I don't know. They just happen to go in there.
You had enough, experience where you're like, oh yeah, I have gear in my house for one night stands.
But I'm like, this man, he will make you a delicious dinner and then put you in his BDSM cage. Everyone's like, yes, daddy.
He's built for hooking up. You know what I mean?
But with everything through this episode with Alara, I'm torn with him now. So you and I now are on different pages because I was like, oh, no way. He's a player. Run for the hills. I would want to pick him, but I shouldn't. And you were like, I don't think so. Part of me now is starting to think that, yes, is he, hooking up with everybody, living his life? Sure, he's a single guy. Go for it, right? But I'm also thinking he's in love with Alara. And I feel like he does have a level of, I think, trying to protect himself with joking around, because there was numerous moments where later in these episodes, he'd sit down with Alara and he'd be like, I want to hear about your family. And she'd be like, you want to hear about my parents? He's like, yeah, because I'll flirt with your mom. And I do think he does maybe want to find that person, and Alara might be that person, but I'm scared that old habits will die hard.
No.
When we see him in the boardroom.
I know I was wrong in the beginning, but here's the thing.
I don't know.
I'm going to make a statement.
I'm going to make a question mark with Stevan. I
have a statement here. Just because you have a crush on him,
I do think he's.
You were giving him a chance.
First of all, how dare you? I do think he's legendary player.
Legendary.
But I also am like, is Alara the one who will break that?
No. Here's what's going on. I know I was wrong last week, but now I know for sure. He
knows for sure.
Is obsessed with getting the girl, right? So it was him versus Dom. Dom is the opposite. Dom cannot handle competition. He crumbles under pressure when it comes to getting the girl. Because we saw in this episode, he immediately crumbled and became insecure and just started making all these bad choices.
Yeah, he's probably not used to it too, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stevan, who is again,
heaven.
Not as much her type, right?
Yeah.
Not the tall, beautiful, shredded version that she normally goes for. Digs in and goes, I'm going to get the girl. And just goes all in, gets her, right? But then you hear about all the escapades at the same time. So you're like, this guy does this a lot. He's really good at this. So let me absolutely explain what'll happen.
Okay.
He is obsessed with getting Alara to fall in love with him.
Yeah.
The second she fully gives over and another girl walks in who's like his type, it'll be, who knows what'll happen. But it's not, he loves Alara, but I also think he's kind of like a hopeless romantic that like falls in love all the time.
Interesting.
And he'll meet new women all the time and be like, oh my God, she's my dream girl. And then they'll hook up for a while and then she'll ditch and go to the next.
Do you think he's really like, he's drawn to Alara too because she has that confident player energy herself? So it's more so like, oh, getting her is even more of a challenge because she's a little more like open to.
Sure. I mean, I think he's just, I like beautiful women that are fun.
Yeah.
And if I can get them to fall in love with me, once I get that, I've like secured the challenge. Like I do think, because you hear about the Harry and him escapades and all this stuff, and you're like, these guys do this.
Yeah.
Like they're like super good looking, super charming dudes who it probably comes fairly easy to them.
Yeah.
And so they're like, that's the challenge, is how do I get the one that's making it not so easy?
Yeah.
I'm telling you. When they bring in Fairy Princess, which it seems like they're going to.
Okay, so her name is Britain, which we heard about her in the boardroom, and we hear Stevan say,
that's my type to a
T. And that was the moment where I go, oh,
just wait.
No.
Once she comes in.
I was kind of swept off my feet where I'm like, oh my God, has he been this like player, but then he meets like his love, and now all of a sudden he's like flowers and dinners and roses and and confessing that you're the one and blah, 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 blah. But then when they went in the boardroom and he lets Alara know that him and Harry, which I'm like, I also though was like, why, Stevan, why did you say that? And part of me was like, I appreciate the honesty and not hiding it. But that he then said, yeah, Harry and I had a plan that we'd bring in someone for each other if we saw someone's type. And he goes, Britain, this girl Britain, I think that's her name, is actually way more my type. She's who I would normally go for. And she is far worse. She is giving, you know how Megan Fox has pink hair now and is like fairy princess pink hair? She is giving the Megan Fox to his Machine Gun Kelly.
Yes.
And so we see that she's going to show up in these next episodes, and now I'm nervous. So
is
one of these moments, by the way, that people are watching episodes 7, 8, and 9 and are dissected, and now they know.
But didn't they say it was worse than that? He goes, me and Harry told each other we would bring in each other's types, and we have the same type.
He said that?
Yes. I could have sworn he said, and we have the same type.
Oh, because really? Oh, I didn't know. I didn't hear that.
I could have. Because I almost swore he said that, which was funny. I don't feel like Britain is
Harry's type because Britain is like so tall
blonde,
and has like
vibes
pink hair.
And he's more brunette. Maybe I'm wrong, but I could have sworn he's like, we like the same girls. So we told each other, let's bring in, you know what I mean? Like that
insane.
Was, you know what I mean? And more what I'm saying is like, it's a leak. It's another leak. It's like he's starting to leak because he has Alara.
Yeah.
Dom's gone. He's got her locked in. He's seeing potential.
And also I go, it is nice that he's being honest, or is that honesty with a strategy by being a leak, by being like, yeah, just FYI.
Just FYI, you're not safe.
So then he can say, well, exactly. I did say, oh.
That's kind of what I'm saying. And I don't think he's like a bad guy. I just think he's like, a professional charmer. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, we see him with this whole Alara Xanthi situation where now it's interesting that you do say that too, because he sees Alara talking to Dom, runs over to Alara and is like, are you matched yet? And it's almost like that's what made his decision.
I'm telling you.
He
it's
ran
a competition
thing.
He
ran over to Alara and he goes, are you matched yet? She goes, no. He's like, give me 5 minutes.
He's definitely the guy that goes out with Harry and a couple other buddies and go like, see those two? I'm going to get both those girls. And then they spend the next hour kind of like figuring out a way and then like, told you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
he tells Alara, he goes, give me 5 minutes. So then he runs and he ends things with Xanthi. Yeah. And Xanthi, what a woman.
Xanthi's so chill.
What a woman. Like her response to him where he brings up Alara and she's kind of like, well, do you want to like match with me and then keep getting to know Alara?
Basically like, I'd like to stay around.
Confidence on 1,000. Mm-hmm. And then when he ends it, she's not like, oh, kiss, kiss, we're all good. But she's so, and so then her and Dominique end up leaving that night.
Yeah.
Dominique, epic exit line, I am feminine rage. And now that I know that everyone's getting brought back, I was like, yes, bring back Dominique. And I hope maybe there's a love connection for Dominique with one of the women there. Bring us the feminine rage. Yeah. I was like, put feminine rage on a t-shirt for merch and I will buy it.
That is good. That is a good
genuinely can't wait to see them back. Very happy that in these upcoming episodes that they'll be returning.
Yes.
So anywho, they're gone and Dom ends up matching with Tolu. Yeah. Tolu is like, what's going on? Yeah. Why haven't you been talking to me? We had a moment and then you disappeared. and she handles it. Again, there are some really incredible women in this villa.
Yes.
There's a lot of goofball men. There's a lot of incredible women.
Yeah, no, the women are really good.
Which, by the way, is also so reality TV.
Yes.
Reality TV is filled with men that are like, oh, get me out of here, and amazing women.
It kind of makes sense, though.
I guess
because
that's the world.
Well, it's also, yeah, okay, chill. But like, it is kind of true. I feel like if you're a girl who's going to go on reality TV, there's something like, it's going to be fun, and I can kind of like grow my social brand, and then guys going on, it's just a different type of guy. You know, it's like it's just a party boy who's down to kind of like rip. I don't know. It's just a different energy. So it makes me laugh. But
so that evening wraps up. You know, we see Harry and Jessica. They're smooched in bed. They are vibing. Definitely.
Things are flowing.
Things are flowing. And even the next morning when they wake up, the flirtations before in the morning with them. Also, she is oiled to the gods. Like, Jessica, drop the link to your body oil because I want to rub it all over my body. Yeah. Like, the woman is oiled. But that morning, what I did notice is Tolu and Chris having a moment together.
Yes.
So Tolu's coming off this conversation with Dom where she was like, we're matched, but also where's your head at here? You know, I like you, but also where's your head at? And then Tolu and Chris are in the kitchen and she's like seeing him clean.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh,
like
watch
daddy
you wash
energy.
the dishes.
Right.
And he says something.
Said like, call me daddy or something like that.
Yeah, and they have like a call me daddy exchange.
Right.
And that's when their chemistry,
something starts to happen.
You start to see that building.
Yes.
Which we'll get into my opinions about Chris.
Yes,
in a little bit.
Of course. Oh gosh.
But they then have their next compatibility challenge.
Yeah.
And this one is the if you know, you know, where basically Nikki Poo comes in and gives the group questions about all the different contestants.
Yeah.
And the ones who get it right are given a truth bomb that they're able to put on someone else's ranking.
Yeah.
And whoever gets the most truth bombs is out first. So whoever, you know, is at the very end with the least amount of truth bombs wins. And we find out some interesting facts in this challenge, one of which we talked about, which is the cage.
Yeah,
Stevan's
cage. Yeah.
Stevan's dog cage.
Stevan's dog cage.
We find out that Harry has got that OF money.
Yep.
Which we knew about. We also find out that Harry was offered $40,000 to sleep with some guy's girlfriend.
Yep.
Which it sounds like he might have done.
Definitely did.
I mean, yeah, $40,000.
He definitely did.
We found out Elys broke 19 bones.
Oh yeah, probably was an athlete.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Tolu was with a guy who was married and she was with him for like 2.5 years, had no idea.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those too. Everyone's has like fun facts.
I know.
And then it's just like this, everyone's like, oh.
Do you know what? I was thinking about that. I felt like for Tolu because I'm like, okay, here's the thing. Probably a lot of people were giving facts to the producers about themselves, like, I'm going to skydive naked this one time, or I'm part of the Mile High Club. And then in conversation, Tolu probably expressed that to producers, not assuming that it would be part of this is a truth bomb game. Yeah. Like, that's probably something that she's like, I want to have a conversation with someone I'm going out on a date with and talk about this part of my life, not have it be included in all of your guys' wacky sexcapades.
Everything can be used.
And then it's like, oh yeah, this really hard, intimate part of my life. It's just like,
thank you for that, guys.
Like, thank you, guys.
The game's like,
I know, it's like, what the hell? But anyway, we also find out about the alter ego.
Yes.
Axel Stone, Chris's alter ego. He was once a stripper, an adult entertainer, and his name was Axel Stone, which, by the way, the name Axel Stone, nothing could be more Chris than choosing the name.
It's like, you know, it's like Googling, like, what should be my stripper name? And then it's just like Axel Stone. You're like, done. It's like the first idea he had. Because it's not even like a tie into anything either. It's not even like, you know, how it kind of makes sense with him. It's like literally he just took like two names. It was like, that sounds cool.
It's very much just like, dude,
it's very 80s.
I was going to say, absolutely love me some like 80s metal.
I love Axl Rose.
Love a hairband, bro. Like, love to rip out.
And my abs are like stone, so that works.
Love to rip out to Guns N' Roses and absolutely love my six pack. My two first loves, Guns N' Roses and my abs, Axl Stone.
It sounds like something that, like in The Office. You know what I mean? That he would have come up with.
It 100% sounds like something that Michael Scott
If Michael
would have
Scott
called
was
it.
like, what's my stripper name? He'd be like Axel Stone. Yeah, 100%.
I loved it. Now, this moment was the beginning, again, which we'll get into, the beginning of some shifting feelings I had for Chris.
Yes.
Where we start to see Chris, and I still, don't get me wrong, I still am very frustrated about some of those conversations from episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But there's a part of Chris, because
We're seeing a new side.
I came in real hot and bothered and in an angry way about Chris.
We
and
did
I
not
do
like him right
feel
off the bat.
like there are a lot of things that Chris probably needs to work on, namely episodes 2 and 3 and conversations, et cetera, et cetera. But there are parts where I can't lie, I am softening a bit.
Got it. Agreed.
Which we will get into. But we got to take a quick pause first. Family. So this is the question to me. How do all these contestants go through all of this drama, heartbreak, tension, and still seem like they're getting sleep and waking up looking refreshed and gorgeous? How? Well, there's only one way I know how to do that, and that's with Blissy. I have been using a Blissy pillowcase, and truly, who knew that a better pillowcase equals better sleep, or that a pillowcase could have anti-aging properties? Like, what? Yes. Blissy. Join me and set yourself up with better sleep with Blissy's award-winning 100% mulberry silk pillowcases. I'm telling you all, not only is this pillowcase gorgeous and pure luxury, it's wildly comfortable. It's providing me with better sleep, and I'm waking up with my hair looking amazing and my skin looking great. It's unreal.
Yes, it is unreal. Seriously. Listen, silk is what's best for your hair and skin. I didn't know that, to be honest with you. It's amazing. It reduces frizz, tangles, and prevents breakage too. That's because it keeps the moisture in your hair and keeps your skincare products and natural moisture on your skin, while cotton literally absorbs it right off your face. Say goodbye to wrinkly, dry, flaky, and red skin in the morning and wake up to healthier and shinier hair.
Yeah, you love a skincare moment before bed, Evan. You love it. And Blissy is just out there making sure it stays on your face.
I love that. I appreciate that.
Love that about Blissy. Also, this is a great gift. Maybe Father's Day? I'm just saying. Also, the packaging, it comes in this very chic packaging.
Chic.
So it's gift ready. Beautiful. Boom. There's a lot of dupes out there, by the way, that claim that satin can be an alternative to silk. But no, satin is made from synthetic fibers like polyester, while silk is a luxurious, all-natural fiber. Silk is more breathable, moisture-wicking, and gentle. It also is more durable and long-lasting. So think of it as an investment in getting better sleep and waking up feeling ready to take on the day. Also, like I said, Blissy pillowcases are made up of 100% mulberry silk, which is naturally hypoallergenic. And unlike other silk pillowcases, these are of the highest quality silk and are machine washable and durable. Everybody loves them. There's a ton of different prints and colors, and they make great gifts, like I said before, because there's an option for literally anyone. Father's Day, again. They have over 1 million raving fans, and you could be next. Try now risk-free for 60 nights at blissy.com/momdadpod and get an additional 30% off. That's BLISSY.com/momdadpod and use code momdadpod to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. Okay, so Tolu and Dom end up winning this game, which, by the way, simultaneously we're finding out that Elys is out for Harry's blood.
Oh my God.
Elys has gone from being okay, whatever, Harry, and annoyed at him, to being like she said, I'm petty, and now Harry it'll be the demise of Harry for me. That's now my arc on the show.
She's no longer interested in love.
No,
she's just Harry. Yeah. And it's you understand that you're ruining your own life in the situation. He did the bad thing, but you have to make a choice. Do I make the most out of this experience, or do I now just obsess about getting back at Harry?
I know.
You're never going to be satiated with that.
That's the thing. It's I felt for her so much.
It's let's say you get Harry to break up. And it's like, okay, now you're happy. It's like, it's one of those things that but when you're in your own head and you feel betrayed, it's really hard to get out of it.
Versus like the best revenge is living a gorgeous life.
Exactly.
So like, trying to really engage with people, or even while you're there, have fun. Like just have a good time. But you even saw with
this new date, she was just kind of like, I'm going to walk in with him. He's a handsome guy.
He's tall.
And Harry's going to freak.
Harry's
and it's
like,
just know this.
He's not.
Harry couldn't be happier when he walks in and you're into him, because it means he doesn't have to deal with thinking you're coming after him.
Yes.
Like that's a false reality.
Because we saw him wake up the next morning, I forgot to mention, and he's like, oh my God, how is
she still here? So you walking in with the match means he's going to relax even more. So just know that, like, do it for you, not against him. You're not going to feel happiness that way.
You're not going to make him jealous because...
But she's living in that like tornado.
I guess this show was filmed like almost over a year ago.
Oh, wow.
It was filmed forever ago, which is interesting with some of the Love is Blind players. Izzy went into Perfect Match. His season hadn't even aired yet.
Oh.
Izzy. So Jessica came into Perfect Match, had just stopped filming her season. Yeah.
Oh.
So it does show you too a little bit of like why Izzy might have been really tentative and nervous. It wasn't like he had seen himself on TV yet. It's like, now I'm doing another one.
Oh.
And I don't know how I came off on my show. And
Oh, right. So he didn't. That's wild. Okay.
Yeah, that would be scary.
That is crazy.
I'd be so scared.
You're like back to back. You have no idea who you are in the space.
Which, by the way, is a little moment to remember when Trevor from Love is Blind comes in.
Yes. He
hasn't been exposed.
The arc, he still thinks everything's fine.
I think so. If if the dates
unless
line
they were
up.
union.
No, the show had just filmed. So unless stuff had already started to leak and he was nervous,
but if
he hadn't gotten
he's
exposed
like walking
yet.
in being like, everything's fine. Whoa. Yeah. Imagine like he's with his, maybe he at some point links up with someone who's with his girlfriend watching the reunion or watching the show, and they're like, uh-oh.
Oh, what's crazy about that too is when Trevor went on Perfect Match, was he still dating that same girl?
Possible.
Stop.
Totally
I didn't
possible.
even think about that. Oh, that's going to be wild.
Yeah.
If because he's going to come on because they're bringing in everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, my point of that is though, that the show was filmed like over a year ago. And I did see Jowsy post a like TikTok with him and Elys joking around.
I did see that too.
And a TikTok with him and Dom joking around.
Oh, okay,
and so it's like, it seems like, I don't know if there's any beef. Anyone drop in the comments. Let me know if there's any beef going on with anybody, because I haven't heard of anything yet. But I think everyone seems to, we'll see. We'll see. But anywho, back to it. Dom and Tolu end up winning. So they're sent on a date.
Yeah.
Right away, I'm seeing them. I'm like, my God. They walk into this gorgeous chef situation and Tolu's like, oh my God, I love to cook. And I'm like, you're that hot and you also cook. Right. I feel really bad about myself.
But I will say, like, his energy shifted immediately. A second the Alara versus Stevan thing started happening, he completely turned off Tolu. Like, you could see it. Because when they
I feel like his energy shifted, honestly, after their first date. Now that I'm thinking about it.
But it was more so when Alara came in and it rattled him. Because even during the game on the beach, he was like, Yeah. He was like sad boy the whole time. He was not smiling, sitting there. Tolu's laughing when she wins one, runs over. He didn't move the whole time. And then when they go, you're going to go on a romantic date. He goes, yeah. Like he was literally like, this sucks.
He was being, talk about a fun sponge. Dude, he was being a fun sponge.
I felt like it was real annoying to me because he really did become like sad for me vibes. Like, Alara's not falling all over me and ditching Stevan immediately. I feel bad for me. And it's like, wait, remember this whole thing where you're linked up with someone else?
Yeah, talk about making it like self-centered.
Made it so self-centered. Like, he turned off completely, right? But it's like, even if you're not into someone, like, be respectful, like, respect their feelings enough to be like, make it a good time and then kind of let them down easy. Instead, he turns off completely, disengages, won't look at her. And even to the point when, like, they do that post interview after the game and they go, and Tolu goes, we had an electric first date and I'm hoping to recreate that this date. And he goes, And it's like, dude. And then the rest of the date was like that too. She's being charming and funny and this. He's just like, totally. Yep. Cheers. He goes, cheers to these tortillas. Like, so disrespectful. cheers, not cheers to this experience. Cheers to finding our love. Cheers to,
Cheers to you
opening up to your
amazing.
mind. Cheers to you being a great person. Cheers to these tortillas. I mean, there's no lower of a cheers you could go than to these tortillas.
Family, if you're ever on a date with someone and they cheers the food at the table,
cheers to
and
this
not you,
calamari, and you're like, okay,
it's probably not a good sign.
Unless
Unless you were in the kitchen making these gorgeous things for them and they cheers to you and the tortillas that you made. Just as a
that was insane. And so he just turned off.
And then that's when he said, we're going into the boardroom tomorrow. Hey, I want you to explore.
That's why he's the opposite of a player. His ability to charm is so low. When in that moment, he couldn't even kind of like find a way to kind of like make it about like an interesting way of doing. He literally just goes, you should find someone else because this sucks. And it was
also, I know you say opposite of a player, but also at the same time, yes and no, because the player energy being that he wasn't just being straightforward with her and saying, hey, there is someone else that I'm interested in, and having the tough conversation. He was like, you should go check out other people. That's what I mean.
It was so brutal.
It was so brutal.
Yeah, it was just so brutal. It was just like, it was. And I sympathize with him as someone that has a hard time faking it, quote. I'm someone who you can read my emotions generally on my face.
Sure.
But at the same time, you got to try. Out of love and respect for someone, you got to try. And he just literally was just waiting for it to be over.
Well, and again, there's a difference between being like, okay, maybe I'm not feeling romantic connection, but I can still be like friends and
cool
kind,
person.
and we can have a good
slowly
time.
Let him down. So
yeah.
And then same thing once they go in the pod and they're choosing all the stuff. It was he was completely like, yeah, sounds good. I don't care.
Because Tolu was like, what the fuck during the dinner? She's like, he just did a full 180. And so when they're in the boardroom, this Tolu move, I was obsessed. She goes, I don't want to touch Stevan and Alara because she really likes him.
I love that. That was
and
a great
his fan,
move.
I was like, yes, Tolu, yes. And she just made him so insecure.
Oh, I loved it.
By being like, she really
she's like, you're
likes
going to do this to
Stevan.
me? I'll do it right back to you.
Yeah, and she's like, and Stevan, because that night before, Stevan did his cute dinner date that he did for Alara, and she's like, I don't want to touch them, and
Loved
I'm like,
it.
what a move.
And he's like, really? And then she bodied him too, because she just decided, I'm taking over this whole thing.
Did it fully.
She's like, you're dissing me, you ruined my night, you took away our connection, forget it, I'm taking over.
And then
he was
she ends
like,
up
okay.
And then they end up talking about it.
Yeah.
And she says, you are like, essentially you're so selfish, because I could have been here with Izzy at this point. I was getting to know him, and you do this 180 on me and now are just leaving me in the dust. Like, how dare you?
Yeah, no. So, and then he gets like defensive right away. Like, it was just a bad vibe. He turned the whole thing sour.
He made the whole, like, the energy of the show just like, blah.
For that chunk, it was like, he was a bummer.
He was just,
He was just really feeling bad for himself. That's really what it was.
Oh, big time. Well, they end up deciding that they're going to set Elys up because, she's in a friendship.
That's an easy one to do.
Yeah, easy. They lock her in with a guy named Justin from Surviving Paradise, and Tolu decides that she's going to go on a date with a guy named Jake from The Ultimatum. So Tolu and Jake's date, they make them work out together. And at first, during this date, I wasn't really getting a read on him.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan immediately.
Really?
Because he had fake. He had fake confidence. It was like he was doing the thing where he's like, my DMs are full and I could hook up with any girl ever. And you're like, dude, you're screaming you don't. You know what I mean? You're screaming those DMs are empty. Like, because he's not, you know what I mean? He's making it about him and how much he could get versus like hanging out with Tolu. I don't know. It just became very like... very weird in that way.
I wasn't getting a read on him because I just felt like Tolu was having to do all the legwork.
She was carrying the
literally,
date.
Living having to do the legwork.
Okay, good.
Pushing him with the legs. But I just felt like she was carrying the date, and so I just wasn't getting a read on him. I was like, I don't know how I feel. We find out more about him later. But Elys and Justin.
Yes.
So Justin from Surviving Paradise. Right away, he goes, I have an anxious undertone.
Which made me laugh. That's a really funny way to describe yourself.
That charmed me as an anxious person.
He's like, I have a very anxious undertone. That's a very funny way to describe yourself.
Who has an anxious overtone, I appreciated a guy being like, I have an anxious undertone. And he was like, I'm scared of rejection. I don't approach women. This is where now I have question marks about Justin.
Yeah.
Okay. Justin says he's scared about approaching women, can't talk to them, okay? But then he is slick Rick in conversation. So I go, is this a man who is insecure and willing to admit it and maybe doesn't see himself for who he really is, who's actually a charming guy? Player? Or is he a who me?
I'm just weird.
I don't even know what.
And it's like, how get out of here. He's gorgeous. He's tall.
That's
he's
what
everything.
I'm saying. So I can't quite tell.
It was funny. The second she came in, I was like, they have no chemistry. Like he was doing the Tolu. He was carrying the kind of vibe.
That's what I thought
She was kind of just like sitting there going, oh, cool. And she didn't even participate in the game. So she like
in the
cold plunge. So it's like she wasn't down for the experience at all. She was so obsessed with Harry the whole time that she wasn't even willing to kind of like join in on the process and be cold and try and silly and laugh.
Check mark Justin because he's tall and that's
Justin
going to
just
bother
gets into
Harry.
the ice bath by himself and she watches and then they just carry on.
I know, and he talks about his shrinkage, which made me laugh.
But again, he was being playful. But I guess if you're like very icked out, that stuff isn't funny. So like she's just in that zone where she's so obsessed with one person, she's so angry about it that no food tastes good, no guy is cool.
But what's interesting is that and we see this till the very end of episode 6, he seems into her. And he's chatting with some of the other women who are definitely interested, but he seems pretty fixated on her to the point that Holly later, bombshell Holly, comes in and is like, well, if not Kaz, Justin doesn't even take the time to get to know Holly. So I think Justin, as much as I'm not seeing chemistry with them, I'm like, I feel like Justin does like Elys. He's like, we're like an old married couple.
Elys later on says there's nothing sexual between us.
I know.
Elys is kind of cold to him too, like really cold. I mean, maybe he kind of likes it. Some guys like, like a little bit of a cold energy and kind of win him over. I don't know, but she definitely just seems very uninterested in him.
Yeah. So far from what we've seen of Justin, my only alarm bells were him saying that he doesn't know how to talk to women and then being like, I find you to be very charming and you seem to be someone who can talk to women very easily. That was my only alarm bell.
It's a good opening line.
But
it's a good opening line to say.
So far from what we've seen, he does seem like a very lovely, respectable guy.
Nothing seems crazy. His energy can be a little awkward to me, just a hair. But nothing about him.
Micah, he did kind of flex his arm at Micah and go, I played college football. And I was like,
he was kind of starting to kind of try that thing. But again, there's no like crazy red flag vibes. He's just kind of, we'll see. It'll be really, because he's a very good looking guy.
Yeah.
I could see more women coming in and being very interested in him. So it'll be interesting to see once that opens up.
He's going to be an interesting one once all the women show up.
Once everything shows up.
Now we did see a preview where he's like saying to Elys, don't touch me. And was upset at her, and she's like into another guy.
Yeah, because that makes sense, because Elys isn't that into him. So Elys is definitely going to use him to continue on. Yes.
So
that's coming 100%. I saw that coming from a mile away. I mean, she is not that into him.
Yeah. Well, they're about to stroll in with their new Jake and Justin new men.
Yeah.
And some interesting things are going down back at the villa, which we'll discuss, but we have to take another quick pause. Okay, so family, for the last few years, I've been hearing so many people I love and trust rave about Nutrafol for their hair, and I've been seeing friends and family's results with my own eyes. So I started using Nutrafol about 6 months ago, and I can report that I love it. I have seen clear improved hair growth and visible thickness. Okay, number one, I told you all that I had to go out and buy new hair ties because my hair had gotten thicker, and so it was breaking my old hair ties, which was so exciting. And now two, I am able to put my hair up into this high bun that I have right now with my own hair. Before I was wearing a hairpiece, but now I'm able to actually do it with my own hair. It's so fun to throw my hair up in a messy bun like I am in college again. I live. So you're going to be seeing me with these high buns a lot. Just prepare yourself because I'm so excited with my results. I highly recommend Nutrafol. It is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement with over 1 million people seeing thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding. Sorry, I'm so
You
excited
look amazing, babe.
I'm so excited about being able to do this with my own hair, this high bun, because my hair is growing and it's
beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, Nutrafol is a physician formulated with drug-free ingredients, and it's amazing because it supports healthy hair growth from within by targeting key root causes of thinning, like stress, hormones, environment, nutrition, lifestyle, and metabolism, through the whole body health. And here's the thing, a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas that are tailored to give your hair what it needs and to grow based on your biology, your life stage, and your lifestyle factors.
While many supplements rely solely on ingredient studies, Nutrafol clinically tests final formulations to ensure their efficacy, and their results are incredible. I'm sure you've heard people raving about Nutrafol yourself, and it's because it's true. I can tell you firsthand with my own experience. Purchase online, no prescription or doctor's visits required, free shipping and automated deliveries ensure you'll never miss a day. See results in 3 to 6 months. Get results you can run your fingers through. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code MOMDAD. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code MOMDAD. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code MOMDAD. So back at the villa, this is when your girl over here gets a shocking turn where I was then like, what's happening? The beginning of what's happening with my emotions.
Yeah.
Because Chris then says that he doesn't want to go home.
Yes.
And now he's got to figure it out. And he is talking about how he finds Tolu to be very charming, very attractive. And so he's going to try to get in with Tolu. Throughout the remainder of this time, I am simultaneously nervous and surprised.
Yeah.
Because part of me, Chris makes numerous comments that are so fucking Chris, where during the Truth or Dare game, he's like, of course Elys is going to kiss me. And you're like, dude, how do you not have any, like, she's just, no, she's not. And he's just doing he does the mansplaining, he does his thing. And I still find him to be very annoying.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, there's something about him that, it's even that Stevan moment where he's like, I really didn't like Chris when he came in, but you're starting to rub off on me. Yeah. Where I'm kind of like, Chris is just kind of a dumb jock.
Yeah, that's the thing that I kind of feel like I've discovered as we're going is it's like Chris just kind of not all there. Like he's not the brightest, tool. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. And I think that when you're not the sharpest tool, you kind of say things like that. Because then as things develop, you're starting to kind of go, wait a second. The way he's treating Tolu, he's kind of being sweet and he's kind of being honest about things and he'll kind of overshare and then he'll kind of be real with her. And you're like, wait a second. There's all those comments before more just because he doesn't really know. Because then the reason why you also kind of think of him kind of as a bit of a not the brightest tool. It's like because he starts talking about like what do those words mean, and he's like using the wrong words a lot.
He
and
asked Justin if him and his sister are identical twins, and everyone's like,
when they're like, wait a second, so he's kind of just like, what? And you start, but he's kind of starting to charm us a little bit, I feel like.
against everything I'm resisting. Because then, like I said too, at the same time, he's saying, how can I stay in? And also, we see the preview where Melinda, who ends up coming in, says that he told her that he was going to choose her. So then you're like, oh,
well, can we just talk about that real quick? I mean, the Chris arc? Because I feel like...
let's talk about the Chris arc. So essentially... him and Tolu begin this vibe
thing
where they're like, he's like, did I discover that starting out as friends is the good way to do it because we started out as friends and I'm developing feelings for her.
He's like, I've never done that before. Never done the friend into girlfriend vibe.
Yes. And then when Melinda comes in, who is from Too Hot to Handle season 2,
who had a crush on.
She was a host of his show, Dated and Related.
And he was always like, whoa, yeah.
She comes in. She is charming, beautiful. They're flirting. They had been flirting. And yet even through that, and during his date, he was still being fucking Chris, where he was just like, if I could indulge tonight. And I'm like, I'm barfing. But then at the end of it, he's like, hey, the sparks might be really hot and heavy with me and Melinda, but I do have this friendship and it's building with Tolu.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like,
well,
is he this guy? Is he growing? Like, I'm like,
he's also like brutally honest too, which is like always kind of a semi-good sign too. Cause he was like, he's like, yo, to be honest with you, had an amazing date with her.
Yeah.
She's 100% my type.
Yeah.
I had a crush on her before.
Yeah.
Crazy sexual chemistry. Everything's there.
She's like, okay.
And it's like, okay, I don't need to know all this shit. You know what I mean? But then all of a sudden he's just like, but with you, there's just something different. And I was like, you know, a normal player would be like, no, I don't really get it. And like, she's cool, but not that cool. But reality is it's all there. But he just gave her all the information. He's like, I totally am into her, but you got something that she doesn't. And I don't know what that is yet. My
question mark is Melinda with the preview saying that he told me that for sure he was going to match with me.
He did kind of say.
And so I'm like, is he playing?
Well, I don't think he was playing. I think it was one of those things where he's like, whoa, on paper, Melinda's my type. I have a bigger crush on her. Probably more of a sexual chemistry with her from like the buildup. But then he saw that Melinda wasn't all in on him. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, it's like she walked in, she was chatting with multiple people. And I think he thought to himself, do I risk it on Melinda? Or is Tolu a more, you know what I mean? Should I go with the thing that seems to be actually more mature and real here? That's what seemed different. It wasn't like it didn't feel like a play to stay. It felt more like he was kind of going, you know what? Melinda's a little shinier to me. It's a little bit of a new shiny, because he even said she's new. She's like, there's something, but at the same time, I think I need to go with the right choice here, and that's so. It was interesting. It's setting up for either we're going to be very wrong or very right.
Because he did say too. He said before he officially matched with Tolu, he was like, well, Melinda, I thought she was set on me, and now I'm seeing her talking to these other guys. If I choose her, will she ditch me next round?
Yes.
I'm out. So you're like, is this strategy?
It's hard to know.
And if he breaks Tolu's heart, I will break him in half.
Dude, someone just
Axel
take it easy
Stone
on Tolu.
will become Axel Dust. He will become, I will break him in half.
Well, that's when Alara chose to have
Chris go on
a date. I was like, you guys, can we just give Tolu a break here? Like, and then if it happens again,
Stevan was like, should we? I
like,
feel bad doing that to
gosh,
Tolu.
Of all the people, we pick anybody else? Like, Tolu's already gone through like 2. It's like, so it's interesting. I feel like we're either going to be, Chris is either going to shine and kind of be like, whoa, we did not see this Chris coming, or he's going to burn her, and it'll be like, wow, we were very wrong about him possibly changing.
Because like I said, I have so many mixed feelings about him, because obviously everyone knows how he felt the first few episodes, and I'm like, this guy is the worst. He's driving me literally crazy, and he still does absolutely drive me crazy, but there's this part of him that him driving me
something
crazy,
endearing
he's
about
now
him.
I don't know if I'd say endearing, he's making me laugh though, because I'm like, this is like an SNL sketch.
Yeah.
Like, you are like an SNL sketch. And even during the Truth or Dare, that's how his feelings for Tolu came out, because Tolu said, okay, kiss who you fancy the most. And he's like, well, get over here. Or give a lap dance, to who you fancy the most. And he goes, well, get over here. Or go sit down. And he does a full Axel Stone on her, full profesh. He's
got kind of a we're laughing at him, not with you vibe, but he doesn't seem to care or know. And you're kind of like, huh.
And then he says, well, Tolu, your dare, by the way, I've never heard someone dare someone something so straightforward. Sit on my lap and kiss me. I was like, that's so ridiculous.
Like, that's not a dare. That's just you trying to get kissed. Like, you know what I mean?
Sit on my lap and kiss me is crazy.
And then they kind of macked, and then when they do kiss, they make out. So.
They really do. And that's when Jake, by the way, is like, I think he's just here. Is just doing this because he knows he's going to go home. We'll see if Jake's right or not.
We'll see.
I don't know. But the Jake moment then after with Tolu was the legendary in the worst way possible.
Horrible.
When he's like, so everyone else is talking to someone, so I figured I'd talk to you. And she's like, okay.
Like, I mean, what?
And then he starts laughing. He goes, no, you're making it sound like, I'm like, she didn't even say anything. How are you already saying you're making it sound like? I said, that came out of your mouth, my guy. And then he goes from that straight to going to Alara and to Micah and being like, well, you're my type.
Yes.
And I'm like, you've told 3 very different women that they're your type. So
he came in way too cocky, way too like, I'm going to wipe the floor with all these women. They're all going to love me. Realized none of them did. And it was kind of like, because even when he left, it was like, by the way, it's no big deal to me. My DMs are full. Like, it was like, hey man, I could tell that's not you. Like, you're not being honest.
Yeah.
He was screaming, I'm coming in as like, if I'm super confident, everyone's going to fall for me thing. And it just came across way too much. And, you know, he literally did a U-turn. He like came in and just walked right out the door. Like,
no,
it
was very cringe. And even that's then when Tolu, when she matched with Chris, she was like, the reason I'm matching with Chris is because I appreciate that he's making an effort.
Yes.
She's like, he's trying.
At least he's trying, yes.
Versus Jake goes, well, since everyone else is talking to somebody,
I might as well talk to the girl I went on a date with.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Oh.
Bye.
She handles things with grace and elegance.
Yes.
I would have been like, your drink is getting thrown in your face.
Yeah, that was like such a crazy.
Are you for real?
I think he was trying to play the just like, you know, if I'm kind of mean to you, you'll like it or something.
Also, you're welcome, Jake, for me bringing you onto the show.
Yes.
I chose to bring you in to go on a date with me. So if it wouldn't have been for me, you wouldn't have been on this villa.
Yeah. Bye.
So you better be sticking my fucking foot in your mouth, just like Stevan sticks
yes.
Alara's
loves a toe, by the way.
Claim.
I also love a man who's just like just sucking on toes in the middle of the show fearlessly. You're like, dang, you gotta hand it to him. The guy is not
just sucking on toes. He put her entire foot in his mouth.
Yeah,
and was
just like in the morning too. Like it's not even like
chomping.
It's not like during a sexy game. It was just like, good morning, suck toe out.
Stevan, who has a cage in his bedroom, doesn't take coffee. He takes foot in the mouth in the morning.
That's the caffeine he needs.
That's what he does. But then during this whole situation, we have a Michael, Justin, Elys, Kaz square where Micah starts putting the flirtations on with Justin. Elys spots it and is like, I'm going to get more revenge and I'm going to come for Micah.
Yeah, because Micah was the one that set Jess and Harry up.
It's funny too, because Micah, the second Justin walked in, she kind of had eyeballs for him. And I'm like, dude, you screwed over Elys and now you're going to go after Elys's guy. I'm like, Micah's very much, there can only be one blonde in this
Add
villa.
it to the Micah
there
folder
can only
I have.
be one.
It's like, it's just at one, it's just constant with her to me.
But when she was flirting with Justin, and then Elys does the move and goes to Kaz and is like, maybe you and I could work out.
She's turning, it's one of those where Micah's turning Elys into a villain because
100%.
She's driving her crazy. Yeah. So it's like, I'm going to go try to get Kaz to like me in order to get back at Micah, which would then get back at Harry somehow. It's like, dude, you are getting so deep.
It's too deep.
It's like, don't ruin Kaz's life. What did Kaz do? Like, now you're going to get him to like you and then burn him? I don't know. It's just...
And you know what? Shout out to Kaz. Kaz, like, pretty much he was respectful, but he, like, shut it down. And he was more concerned when Elys said, Micah's talking to Justin, that he was like, Micah's talking to Justin. He likes Micah more than I thought he did.
Crazy.
That was another one I was wrong about. We thought we're like, Kaz, he's not really. He likes Micah, I think, more than Micah likes him.
100%.
And I do, when then Micah and Kaz sat down together, I do
There's something there.
There's something there. And I do get the energy that she wasn't talking to Justin because she's like, oh, he's hot. I think she really does have some trust issues, which she's
afraid to get burned.
She just came off of getting rejected by Mushroom Paul. And they had an on again, off again situation. I think that she was using Justin as a way to protect herself. And so when Kaz...
But she said, like, that guy's my type all the way. So there's a little bit of that,
but I do think that she does really like Kaz.
Okay.
I
think so too.
I do think they actually like each other, but I think Kaz might like her more.
I 100%. I think that Micah would bail on Kaz before Kaz bailed on her. 100%.
Yes. And I think maybe she'd do it to try to, quote unquote, protect her heart and be done in an unhealthy way.
She's kind of a like... Because she's also like very into the fame thing. She knows everything about Harry Jowsey. So she's, remember early on, she's like, yeah, well, I know that he was dating this person and this person, and then has OnlyFans. So she's also very into the,
by the way, if Harry would have paid eye to her, if she would have gone with Harry.
I don't know.
I could see her being the one to be like, oh, he's famous, so I'm gonna hop on the Harry. That's more
what I'm saying is I think she's kind of a level up. Or so if someone were to come in with more clout and we're into Micah, I think Micah would bail on Kaz.
Yeah. Well, Kaz is like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then he matches up with Micah.
Yeah.
And this then leads us to the drama of the night, which is the Dom, Alara, Stevan, and Dom's response when he is not chosen.
Oh my goodness.
But before that, we got to take one quick final pause. Evan, my love, Father's Day is almost upon us.
Yes.
And I remember when your skincare routine looked like washing your face with body wash and water. I do remember.
Not that long ago, to be honest with you.
I do remember that. And all I can say is, aren't you glad that we discovered today's sponsor, OneSkin, that has a routine, a simple routine that will not only make your skin look and feel healthier, it's powered by OSO1, the first ingredient scientifically proven to reverse skin's biological age. I mean, we've been using this for about a year now and we love our results. Also love how simple it is. I think this is such a great Father's Day gift and I'll probably be getting you more for Father's Day, just so you know. And by the way, for a limited time, our listeners will get an exclusive 15% off their first OneSkin purchase using the code MOMDAD when you check out at oneskin.co.
Yeah, I would love nothing more than a fresh supply of OneSkin. Thank you very much,
Done
babe.
and done.
OneSkin is founded and led by skin longevity scientists, and they're all about data. In clinical studies, they found that OSO1 Face, their daily facial moisturizer, improved hydration, skin elasticity, and the appearance of wrinkles. And when their scientists tested their Prep facial cleanser in the lab, it actually doubled the penetration of the OSO1 peptide. More peptide, better skin, and easier too. You don't need a 10-step routine, which is something I, am grateful for. You just need OneSkin.
Oh my gosh, that's why I love OneSkin so much. The results and the ease. Before OneSkin, I was spending a lot of money on skincare that had results, and it was a 17-step process. But with OneSkin, I just cleanse, pat my face dry, and apply twice daily. It's that simple. And I use their products on my face, my eyes, neck, all over my entire body. OneSkin is more than skincare. It's about skin longevity, targeting the root causes of aging to help you look and feel your best at every age. Get started today with 15% off using code MOMDAD at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code MOMDAD. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. It's time to expect more from your skincare routine. Invest in the health of your skin with OneSkin. Okay, so we land where Dom, he's still in the house and he has his eyes set on Alara. That is still continuing. This is now his chance, his shot with Alara. He sits down with her, tells her he thinks they'd be good together because fashion is his number one priority. Which I was like, number one? I'm like, I live for fashion, but the number one priority, that's extreme.
It's really giving, to be honest with you, it's like his looks are wearing him. You know what I'm saying? There's a level of he's not he's this tall, super good looking, shredded dude with great style, but none of the he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to be in this environment. He's so in his head immediately where it's dude, you have from day one, you had Alara for the taking and you just got simply outworked. Stevan immediately was just I'm going all in. I'm going this, that, boom, 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 boom. And she was even still going but Dom's kind of more my type. And he just would kind of sit there and barely do anything and wait and feel bad for himself. And then have a conversation with her. But then he would get in his head. He fumbled it hard.
I hate to be mean, but Dom, he gives me boring.
Yeah.
It's boring. And maybe he's super not that way outside of the show and he gets tight on the show, but it's just boring.
Yeah.
It's kind of snoozy. Yeah. It's not versus Stevan and Alara's conversation. It's funny. It's dynamic.
Exactly.
After Alara talks to Dom and she's like, I have to think about it. She goes and Stevan literally is carrying a planter, a vase. He
literally pulled an entire plant out of a huge ground and pulled it out and gave it to him. It was humongous.
And it was funny. And he was proposing. I mean,
I will say this in just small defense of Dom. If Stevan is also pursuing your girl, that's a tough one to win, right? The guy is very experienced in talking. So that's a tough one. But yes, you're absolutely right. He's kind of boring mixed with the fact that he's in his head. So it's doubled down.
Yeah. Well, she ends up matching with Stevan.
Yes.
And she does say, though, at the moment, no one suits me as much as you. So
Yes.
I'm assuming that this girl Britton's going to come in and Stevan, his eyes might be turned, but also Alara, there's
Yes,
potential where
100%.
she's like, I might be out if I find someone who suits me better.
Hopefully if that happens, Alara, there's also someone for Alara.
Yeah. Or I'm saying maybe she's the first one. Maybe she outplays the player.
Yes, that's true.
You never know.
I feel like
It would be kind of iconic.
Stevan's probably played enough in his life where he deserves something like that. You know what I mean? He's kind of giving like he deserves to be played. Like he's broken enough hearts.
It might be a good lesson.
Might be a good lesson in leveling the playing field.
Well, Dom then is like, I'm going to try for Elys. He goes up to Elys.
He's like random.
And he's just like, from day one, like, you're my type. And I'm like, if I hear one more guy say, you're my type, because this happens many times throughout these few episodes, and then goes to another woman who is absolutely different than that woman and says, you're my type. Yeah. It's like, what is happening?
It's like beautiful.
Yeah, sure, great.
It's like,
yeah, I
girls
love
are my type.
A beautiful woman. Okay, fine, then fine. But he then is like, yeah, you're my type, and from day one, but you were with Harry, and she kind of plays back a little bit too. But then in the ITMs, she goes, he's trying to stay. Yeah, like I can read this guy. Here, yeah. I can read this guy.
Which, to be honest with you, wouldn't necessarily be a bad call for her.
I was going to say
because she's kind of might have to do another Chris situation. So she's like, I have this new guy that's into me, but at the same time, I'm not into him. Maybe Dom's a safe call. We both can stay. I mean, if you would have thought about it, like, strategically, it could have been a move.
I thought maybe she was going to choose Dom to get to Harry. Or she was like, it's going to bother Harry more if she sees if he sees me with his best friend.
It's always about Harry. Yeah, it's always about Harry.
But Harry did offer Dom to Elys, so maybe that's why not. But anyway, so that's not working out. Elys ends up coupling off with Justin, and now Dom's not happy.
Yeah.
And they're in the bar area, and he starts doing the whole thing where he's like, I try to be the good guy and it didn't work for me. That to me is always, that's red flag energy.
Where you call yourself the good guy.
And when you say I tried and it didn't work, and I'm just like, I don't, like when your like claim to fame is that I'm the good guy, that's never typically a good sign.
Yes.
Because it's not coming from maybe the genuineness.
It's coming from a place of like, I'm doing this it's the right thing to do, what I should, but I don't want to be
what
doing
I'm showing the audience or whatever. And then Harry is like, and he's trying to be a good friend to him. He's like, if you're trying to find someone for forever, isn't it worth the fight? And Dom just goes, if everyone here is so genuine, why did you come? Oh.
Now, I will say this. In defense of Dom, didn't Harry cheat on, like, didn't Harry basically steal his girl while they were together? Like, Harry deserved that shot for sure. He's basically looking at Harry being like, hey man, I know I'm not on my game right now, but like, of all people to tell me the right reasons, don't you dare.
And let's be real. If these guys are all besties, like it seems, hanging out outside the show, Dom, Stevan, Harry, they're all friends because they're talking about like outside of the show. You're hearing your buddy talk. You're out at the bars with him, and it's a little bit like, don't play this game. Don't
make me look bad.
Don't put the cameras on and go, if you really want to fight for someone you love, it'd be like, okay.
Harry deserved that shot 100%, especially with their history. I'm like, 100%. The fact that he's been friends with you is a miracle.
Yes, but that rocked Jessica.
Yeah.
So Dom and Jake end up exiting.
Yeah.
But then Jessica's rattled.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, it's one thing to hear from
she should be.
100%. That would really throw me off because it's like, okay, I'm hearing from the women about you.
Everyone said, don't good. This guy's sketchy.
And I know who you are. But like, now your friend is throwing you're not genuine shots. I'm sweating.
Yes.
So Jessica sits down with him. And I got to tell you, Jessica is such a mom. And I mean that in the best way possible.
How old is Jessica?
I think she's like 28. I think
her maturity level, just vibe wise, just feels like she's so much older than him.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like their energies. Yeah. He feels very young, and she feels like
so mature,
so much more mature.
Yeah, and she, like I said, she's a mom in the best way possible. Yeah. She is in control.
Yeah.
Which, on the one hand, I do feel like Harry ultimately will be good being with a woman who is in control
and who can kind of keep him on track
and will check him and be like, whoa. But in this conversation, she's like kind of manhandling, and she's like, no. What's going down? I'm not going to be put in this position. and she's like, I know that you don't like when I interrupt you, which I'm like, oh my God, they're already fighting about the interrupting. This is not, they've been with each other for like 2 days and she already knows that he doesn't like when she interrupts him. I'm like, what are these conversations looking like? But then Harry, he shuts down again. And he's like, I'm going to go because that upsets me. And he's like walking away.
One of my favorite things to say is when someone calls you out for bad behavior or like the possibility of bad behavior. And then you go, I don't like that. It's like, duh.
Who loves
being called out for bad behavior? And so he then turns on the like professional, I need to get the high ground again. I need to get, if we sit here too long, I'm going to lose my strength here. So I need to do the like.
He removes himself.
I can't do this anymore with you. What are you talking about? You know how being asked about anything bothers me. I'm leaving.
Well, and then when he goes, and then he starts, by the way, saying, I'm leaving the whole show.
Bawling.
Okay, here's the thing. People are going to be like, you're a Harry apologist. Listen, I'm very aware of the dynamic and what he's in. I'm just like, no. I will say, when he was in his room crying, I do think that the crying is genuine. Like, I think he is extremely distraught about
all the past choices.
Yes, I do.
Him.
I think they do haunt him. I think that he knows that there's been a lot of mistakes. And I think that he's someone, and I know I said this in the last time, but I do feel like he is someone who does genuinely want to be better.
Sure.
And then keeps fumbling.
Yeah.
But I think that for Harry, what I was reading on him is like he hates hearing about all these past things. But I'm like, Harry, here's the bottom line. You say you're a changed guy. Right? Even though we did just see this whole Elys thing, but you say you're a changed guy or that you want to change. I can understand the frustration when you have, let's just say, made active steps to be different from the person you used to be. Like if someone's always reminding me, Jess, of these things you used to be like let's just say this, right? I used to be very jealous. If you're constantly being like, well, you're jealous, and I'm
everyone
like,
in the house is saying
and everyone's saying you're jealous. Here, I understand the frustration when you're like, I'm actively trying to change who I am and work on myself and not be as, projecting my jealousy on other people. The issue is when you want to change, you have to be patient while other people are seeing your change. And that's, I think, where Harry, he lacks patience and communication. Yeah. So when there's a tough conversation, he runs.
He just likes to flirt and have a good time.
He's a good time guy. Yes. He wants to have a fun time and laugh and giggle and have a fun time. And the serious stuff, he runs. So he's not patient in communication. And then he's not patient with being like, hey, it's good to change. And it's okay when we have mistakes in our past. And it's okay to move forward and change. But you're going to have to be patient when other people are still affected by your past and recent past. So you're going to have to be patient in all these areas. Okay.
Yeah.
But when Jess comes in and she starts comforting him, she starts crying.
Right.
And she's like, I'm really sorry. And I'm like, I did not.
And he goes, it's okay. I mean, he did it. He switched it on her. Like, she's crying now and apologizing. And he's going, it's okay.
Well, and then the next morning when they're talking, Jess was like, actually, I think I made the mistake. And I was shook.
I was shook. And then she compliments him, calls him a pretty crier. So,
and then I saw him post an Instagram story of himself wearing a shirt that said pretty crier.
I mean, the guy's a master of the game. He
really is. I mean, the man knows reality TV better than anybody.
He knows how to give us. I mean, he's the star. I mean, like, let's be real. Like, so far, he has given us some of the best moments of this show so far.
Yeah, he's
Love him or hate him,
he's a star.
He's a star.
It's
just the reality.
Yeah.
He's just the reality, and he's what we love in this game. It's like, this is not an analysis on the best way to live your life and have relationships. We're analyzing a fun show about people acting wild, and he is fantastic at acting wild.
He really is.
And giving us a journey. I mean,
And
it's the ups and the downs.
He's the guy who he shows us the emotion.
Yes.
He shows us the frustration.
Yes. He's completely crass in ITMs. He says the craziest shit. Like he is a master of this whole thing. Now, that being said, is it like who knows what's going to happen with them too? Because I feel like if anyone can handle him, it's her.
Yeah.
But seeing her go from calling him out to asking about some like questionable stuff to like apologizing, it'll be interesting. Like, you know what I mean? Has Harry met his match? Can she not handle it? I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see if she can keep up the kind of like, don't give in to like, you know, he still needs to be held accountable.
When he's like
whatever.
having a pity party, it's like, no, you know.
Yes, that was interesting. It'll be really interesting to see how they develop.
Yeah, I really like Jessica a lot.
I do too. And I actually like them together in a weird way. I feel like she could change him.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It concerns me, but I like her so much.
I know. She's awesome.
I loved her on Love is Blind, and I'm loving her on this.
Seriously.
She seems like a good time too, and everyone really likes her in the house.
Yeah.
She's got good energy.
She's so short.
Because
I didn't realize she doesn't look short.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you'll see her like in the game and she's like a head shorter than everybody else and then 5 heads shorter than Harry.
She's a little Polly Pocket. Well, then they have the next compatibility challenge, which is the seeing eye to eye challenge, which is where each couple has to maneuver all their different balls from the sea to the sand, and they can't use their hands. Harry literally just picks Jess up.
It's like hop on, let's go.
Tiny that he and they just put the ball in between them.
Yeah.
And then a few people attempt to also do that, but they can't really.
It's not quite the same.
It's just because he's so
so big, she's so little.
She's so little. But then Alara straight up go doggy, and he's like grabbing her boobs the entire
he's
time.
Like, this is my favorite game ever.
Oh, I was laughing so hard, and they end up winning the game. Yeah. Harry and Jess were very close, and I was bummed that they didn't get it because it was the women in the boardroom, and we were hoping for a Harry with the women moment.
Yes, we need one of those.
Especially since we find out later that one of the women chosen, Holly, Harry has hooked up with.
It's so funny because he does, early on, he talks a lot about like, you know, if they bring a girl in, I just hope I haven't slept with her. And it's like, so far, there's been like, you know what I mean? So far, it's like that actually is a problem. Most guys saying that, you'd be like, that's embarrassing. Stop saying that. But like reality is that Harry's been like, no, I'm so out there in the game that like there is a very large chance that multiple people coming in I have hooked up with.
It's wild. It is interesting, by the way, though, with like, it's like with all reality TV shows, there's a network, and it is like, kind and of everyone's dating and everyone's kind of friends or hooking up. Like it's pretty much all the reality TV worlds are like that.
It is interesting.
You know, including The Bachelor, Bachelorette.
Yeah.
It stays,
a lot of connection there.
Yeah. But then Stevan and Alara go on a date, you know. At this point, I'm watching it. I'm blushing.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, thanks for being mine. That's like his cheers versus the thanks for tortillas.
Yeah.
He's like, thanks for being mine.
Yeah.
It seems very romantic. Then they go into the boardroom the next day, and that's when we hear him bring up this girl, Britton, and is like, he's my type. He might want to go on a date with her. Alara's a little bit like, what?
Yeah.
This is not what I was expecting. When they did the move where they walked into the house and they had her walk in first and fake, it fully got me. I was like,
it didn't get me.
It didn't get you.
Oh no, I could tell. I was like,
it fully got me, and I was right. I was typing notes furiously and then erasing them because I was like, oh no.
I had a feeling. I was like, that's a good move. Because at one point I thought that would be a funny thing to do, and then they did it, and I was like, okay. And Stevan's a very playful guy.
Yeah, he's playful.
So like I could definitely see him doing that. So like there was a moment for a second where they kept going longer. And I was like, maybe, but then I was like, okay, no, they're playing with this.
Well, that's when then they bring Melinda in, and for Chris, who was again the host of the show that he was on. And then that's when he calls Micah a fun sponge and that Kaz needs more energy. So they put Kaz on a date with Holly,
who is like literally if you were to write a movie where the devil comes down to tempt a man in a woman form,
100.
That's it.
It literally was like, and
what is
also
it? The sirens in
yes, in like is like Odysseus or something.
Like that woman is a siren who then the second you kiss her turns into a snake and then like drags you down. Like,
and I think Holly's actually a very lovely person.
I'm not saying her personality. I'm saying
it was
looks, nice energy. To meet you. Lube me down. And literally, we are 2 seconds away from sex.
Also, the producers, you guys are so naughty.
So well played.
You're so naughty. You're like, that Kaz or that Micah's tripping, and then Kaz literally says before the date, and I believed him, by the way.
Yeah.
When Kaz was like, "No, I'm locked, and I don't even want to go on the date." I believed it.
Yeah.
And then he sees Holly. He goes, "I'm in trouble.
I'm willing to open up."
And they were, Evan. Their date was so sensual, and she is so like beautifully sensual in the way that she moves.
Extremely comfortable in the sensual. Like, to be just on set for the first time and meet the first person and be able to just own that whole experience.
But she has this like gorgeous, like the way that she moves and her femininity is like quite stunning.
And she's like, I'm more comfortable with no clothes on. You know what I mean? Everything she said to it was like written. It was like written by the Siren movie.
And watching them, so you were having to be on the plane watching it. I almost texted you and said there's a part that like if you're next to someone you might want to like cover it because people will be like, are you watching
an
porn
adult right now? Yeah.
Because when I was watching it, I almost was like, I shouldn't be watching this feels so private to them. Like he was just like lathering up her legs.
And they were playing let's play chicken, where like the person who can get closest to each other's stuff. It was like it was insane. And it was 0 to 1,000,000. It wasn't like they hung out for an hour then it was like, nice to meet you.
Yeah, Kaz is like, he's concerned about getting an erection. And I was like, yeah, no shit. Obviously.
Yes. It was so erotic.
Obviously. While this is happening, Chris and Melinda go on their date, which we talked about a little bit. They're shocked to see each other, though. And they do have a lot in common. They both talk about how they're not looking for marriage at the moment.
Yeah.
They're looking for like
good time,
fun, sex, food. I loved it that they were both open about that.
Yeah, that was interesting because it could have gone very, like, again, that's that Chris like honesty that he doesn't realize he did. Like, that could have gone very bad.
Yeah, depending on who you were talking to.
No, I'm not. I've done all that. I want a partner
this is the
now.
That's
match,
why I'm here.
And they're both like, no, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
I loved in a reality TV show about romance, two people being very honest and being like, I'm not ready for marriage.
Like some of these people might be, but I'm not.
Yeah, no, I want to have a partner to travel the world with and have a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked that. And I love Melinda. I watched season 2 of Too Hot to Handle. I haven't seen her host, Dated and Related, but she is electricity incarnate. Yes. Like,
oh my gosh.
You're just like, I want Melinda at every party that I'm ever at.
Yeah.
But that's when Chris is doing the shit that I'm like, when he says to her, you and I would be the better outcome. But I'm set on the one I had, or I'm set on the way he put it. I was like,
confusing.
Are you talking? But I'm also just like, I'm set on my current partner. The way he put it, he was like, I'm set on that one. I don't know. I was just like, Chris.
I think it's just not very well spoken, maybe in that way. I don't know what it is, but he's confusing. I'm telling you right now, he's in a very confusing place because it's like he kind of made it sound like he was going to choose Melinda, and then he swaps it out and he kind of says really nice things to Tolu, but it doesn't feel super playery. It feels kind of honest. So I'm very confused with Chris. My brain did not like him the first 3 episodes. Now I'm like, wait, am I wrong? I don't know. It's very confusing.
I also do. If I'm being fully transparent, there's a part of me that goes, am I trying to like Chris because I love Tolu? And if they end up at the end with each other, I need to like who she's with.
Oh,
it might be a little bit of that because I really love Tolu, that I'm like, if she really likes this guy, then there must be something. I don't know. That might be what my brain's doing.
Personally, for me, I don't think that she likes Chris that much. I think that
you don't think Tolu likes Chris that much?
I think Tolu's gone through it a little bit, and I think Tolu's also someone that gives people a really big chance. Yeah, and you got to like fuck it up royally to not have a chance. Like she just seems to be a very open person and not like, what, you know what I mean? She seems to be like, if you're willing to try, I'm willing to give you a shot. And I think Chris is really trying, and so she's willing to give him a shot. But I don't see because we're the most unlikely couple. I think that you know what I mean. I think deep down it's like not really her thing, but at the same time, it probably feels really good to be pursued.
Yeah.
So that's why I just hope that he's doing the right thing and being, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. So it's really interesting to me. I didn't want to like Chris, and I'm starting to like Chris. So I'm the opposite. I'm like, I'm trying not to like him, but he's starting to wear on me in a weird way.
I fully feel that because that's how I feel. But I'm saying I'm diagnosing myself.
Like,
I'm like, am I liking him because I'm trying to like him?
I think he's just also so honest that like he'll say stuff like, yeah, Melinda, you're definitely my type and I really like you, but also Tolu is. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. You're like, I think he's just saying stuff.
Yeah. Well, they're going back to the villa and the women have been nervous back at the villa to the point where all of them dress up in sparkles. Everyone is sparkly. Sparkle. Yeah. And speaking of Tolu is such a good friend. You were talking about how Micah's the fun sponge who's like making the new feel question yourself.
She was hyping up Micah big time.
Tolu was just like, you're stunning, you're gorgeous, you're perfect. And then when Holly walks in and she's wearing like TBH, the more expensive version of like a sparkly Micah
and I
dress.
love how like during the ITM, she's like, yeah, and then she walks in having the better version.
but in person, she grabbed Micah and she said, breathe, you're gorgeous, you're amazing. She's being such a good friend. And then ITM,
she's like,
yikes.
Well, she said that about both of them. She's like, well, both of them walked in and basically outshined both of us. We thought we were going to, kill it and they killed us. So that sucks. It was very funny. Because she didn't just say that Holly outshined Micah. She's like, and Melinda kind of outshined me. Like, it was kind of funny how she was like, we admit defeat.
It killed me. But I don't know. She seems just like such a good friend. But anywho, they're planning. They're all sparkly. And then it's like, Holly walks in wearing this sparkly dress. This is then when Harry Jowsey will
unhinged.
Say anything
He's
on
unhinged.
camera. He says, yeah, Holly and ITMs. He says, Holly and I have a history. We were podcasting once, and then we had dinner, and then we smashed. And he's like, oh yeah, and Stevan cream pied her.
Meanwhile, Stevan's just like, oh yeah, Holly's a good friend. When he was talking to Alara, he's like, Holly's a good friend. We know her.
I was literally screaming at the camera. I'm like, Harry, you can't just say that.
You could just say sex.
Also,
you don't need to describe the specifics of what happened.
Also, you shouldn't be sharing a hookup story without, like, shouldn't be sharing Stevan and Holly's hookup story.
That's why Harry's so entertaining on these shows, because he's just unhinged. He does the things that no one else is doing. He's insane.
Like, that is nuts. I don't think I've ever heard that line on a TV show in my whole life.
Ever.
I screamed. Screamed and rewound and rewound and rewound. I was like, what did he say?
He's insane.
Unreal. Well, this is the boys talk, and Chris is feeling torn at the moment. Stevan then reveals to Kaz how he feels. He's like, you've been on a lower vibration, and that's why we sent Holly in.
Yeah.
Like, I think
he's like, cool, if you want to go with Fun Sponge, I do support you, but at the same time, just so you know, like, go with this girl.
Also, during this boys' conversation, I don't know if you noticed, but Harry looked like he was tripping out. Did you notice this? They kept panning to Harry in the conversation, and Harry looked nervous.
Yeah, it's because he's waiting for the time when he's gonna have to tell Jess.
Yes.
That he hooked up with her.
Yes.
Because he talked about it early on in the show. He's like, I'm terrified of someone coming in I've slept with.
Yes. And so I'm wondering, I'm like, is Kaz either going to choose Holly, or I guess Holly will be there because then everyone comes back. Will Jess find out? Oh my God.
100% she will.
Also too, all of the women that weren't chosen are going to be on the show. Are there many that Harry and Stevan have hooked up with? I don't think that the women that Stevan's hooked up with that Alara will find out because he's not chatting about it. Yeah. But Harry, I'm like, is Jess going to end up finding out, and how is she going to feel about it?
100% they're going to find out. Holly will tell Jess.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
So Harry needs to tell Jess right away, because what you don't want is her to find out through Holly.
Or through ITMs if
whatever,
they're still together.
You don't want to find, you got to get ahead of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because especially with their recent conversation.
You don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, I didn't want to tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe he's been straightforward with her from the get and been like, yeah, I've hooked up with most everyone from Netflix. Yeah. So like anyone who comes in, like there's a high likelihood that like we've had sex. Micah is tripping.
Yeah.
She talks with Kaz.
Calls him a liar.
Well, before that though, when they had their initial conversation, I felt like maybe I'm being played right now, but I felt like he was being pretty honest.
Yes.
I felt like
yes and no. He said, "You're my type and she's a type."
Yes, that was the thing. And God, these men, again, the men with the type thing, they're really fucking themselves with saying this type thing.
Because it's a way to make a person feel extra special. People be like,
right.
You're special.
And we know that Holly is Kaz's type because he said so in ITMs.
Yeah.
But other than that comment, I do feel like he was pretty straightforward with her.
Well, she put him on the spot. Well, she's like, "So what are you going to do?" And it's like, well, I just got back from my date. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, that's a weird thing to say to someone. Like, what are you going to do? It's like, well, you don't know the answer yet. You just got back. We're just figuring this out. So she also kind of was like really anxiety pressure vibes.
Yeah.
Instead of letting it become a thing and let it figure itself out. And so in my opinion, it's like he did what he could in the circumstances of being told, well, what are you going to do right now? And then you're like, I don't know yet, you know?
Yeah. But I didn't feel like he was blatantly lying.
No, he just was kind of like
her.
trying to survive the situation.
But then she talks to Holly and she finds out about the my type thing.
And Holly does
Holly's
the like worst case scenario.
He said I was his type on the date.
And he was enjoying himself. Let me tell you that.
So essentially Micah then grabs him and is like, "You're a liar."
Right.
And Kaz is like, "What the hell?"
She's like, "I have a sponge. And I'm going to soak up any fun you might be having."
As this is happening, Holly's goes by Kaz and is like, "When you're ready to talk, I'm over here." You know, Micah's upset at him. Kaz is like, "I can't believe you just called me a liar." He then talks to Holly and he's like, "I barely know you and we've had this time and it takes time to get to know someone. But like, I'm wondering, in my opinion, there's one of two things will happen because of obviously there's only two potential options, but with Micah saying that to him, either one, he'll end up choosing Micah because now he's stressed.
Yes.
Because on camera, Micah just called him a liar. And it's like, well, now am I going to choose to become that guy on the show? I think he stays with Micah because the stress levels just went up.
It's interesting. See, I always look at it like this. No one ever learns this. They let the anxiety take over them. People panic. And then they almost push them into the other person's arms by being like, you know, on edge, jealous. Even if you don't feel it, it's like, Micah, if you want a shot at this, like make him feel great when he's around you. Well, like you're not helping yourself with this.
But my thing is too, even from the perspective of television, right? If you're thinking about the audience and you're like, okay, well, now I'm concerned about what I'm going to look like.
Like a person thinking about the audience for sure.
But I'm just saying, a lot of these people are thinking that way. I'm a little bit like, when someone brings someone else into the house and you're like, are they about to ditch me? If you kind of just continue to be like, well, I would like to be with you. I don't know. I thought we were good together, and play that. When then they leave you, then you walk away.
The victim.
As the person who's like, you know, I did this the whole time.
I did it honestly.
Versus when it becomes more confrontational, some people will take your side and some people will take the other person's side, versus it just being like, wow, that guy pulled a really shitty move on her.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's more clear cut that way. Anyway, so I don't know who he's going to choose. I have a feeling he's going to choose Micah because
I think so too.
I think he does like Micah, and now I think he's stressed because Micah made him feel bad because of calling him a liar. You know, and I get that she's frustrated, but yeah.
I think that Holly is like, you know, he's very into her looks wise.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a lot of like connection energy. I just got like, this girl is my type to a T. We had a sensual moment together, but I've spent much more time with Micah developing a connection. So I'd be shocked if he chose Holly as well. Unless Micah makes things worse and like comes at them both and then like basically pushes him into her arms. I see him going with Micah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Well, then Melinda Blessings is like out there. She's chatting it up with all the different guys. She's like putting in the work. So charming. At one point, Harry asks Melinda when her boobs came in. He goes, when did those come in? I mean the guy's
unhinged.
And she laughs and she goes, 5 months ago. And then she's like, how do they look? He's like, I can't tell you that. I'm like, dude, this is so wild.
Wild.
But at this point, when this episode ends, it looks like Melinda is going to be going home.
Yeah.
Because Justin and Elys did end up staying together.
Yeah.
So we have matched up now Stevan and Alara, Harry and Jessica, Tolu and Chris, Justin and Elys, and now we're just waiting to see who Kaz.
Yeah. You know what's so great about the way that this episode ended?
Yeah.
There's like one solid couple. Like Stevan and Alara seem pretty solid.
But
things can happen. But what I love about it is how unsolid everything is. Because shows kind of go downhill, in my opinion, when like halfway through, everyone seems to be like kind of married.
Yeah.
That's when everyone comes in, they get turned down. They keep bringing people in to mess with them, they turn it all down. When no one's that solid, that means there's so much more chaos to be had.
Also, it's because, I can feel that way sometimes about Love Island.
You're like, half the couples are already locked in.
At a certain level of episodes, I kind of just would tune out, and then I'd look up to see which couple
because you know that they all just stuck together.
Because I'm like, okay, the last few episodes, everyone's sticking together, and this sounds like so anti-romantic, but I'm like, I want the drama.
Of course.
What's amazing, you're right, about Perfect Match, and I think why it is how it is the fact that they have to eliminate every night is chaos.
Chaos. They have to reconnect people, eliminate, and then they do like crazy shit where they're bringing everyone in. Like they create much more chaos.
But like eliminations every night is chaos. Like the fact that they have to eliminate the same night that they go on the date with someone is chaos.
But to me, what's far more intense is not the eliminations, it's the ripping couples apart.
Yeah, then there's
that's
that too.
Far more intense to me. The idea that you take a couple that's locked in and you can just rip them to shreds and then connect them with new people, that is so chaotic.
And that the audience doesn't do it like Love Island or the producers, because then you have the drama where people are mad at the couples who are tearing them apart.
And they're like, I don't want to lose, so I want to tear this great couple apart.
They've created pure chaos.
It's a fantastic chaos.
And now with these upcoming episodes where they're bringing everyone back in, it's a little bit like a Casa Amor, but more intense.
Way more intense. Everyone's together,
because you're just piling everybody in. I mean, they've done it with this show.
Although I'd love to see Stevan and Harry on a Casa Amor situation, because that would be hell.
I would pay money to see that. But I mean, this show's it's really incredible, and I'm really like, good. The episodes like fly by to me because I'm just like caught up in everything.
Yes, it's so good.
I mean, but officially episodes 7, 8, and 9 are out on Netflix right now, so who knows what we're gonna think. I mean,
it's such a good show.
We'll see how we feel after watching those episodes, but can't wait to talk about those. We love you, family. Mwah. Have a beautiful weekend. Mwah.
We'll see you next time.
Hope you don't get called a fun sponge this weekend. Oof. You never would, because you're part of the family. We love you all. Mwah.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.